The bigger conversation needs to be, how do we bridge the gap with the Black people? I'm so tired of these conversations. She is a Dusty. She's a Dusty. She's a Dusty. I'm just gonna say it. She's a Dusty. Here you have, Black men against Black women, Black men against Black women, Black men against Black women. And it's just so tiring.
Meloney P.
This show is, be honest, on a very low calorie, high protein diet. Be honest. Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Meloney P podcast. I am your girl, Meloney P, and we are here to have a conversation. Before we get started, y'all, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. And for my new Meloney P family, welcome. And for my returning, thank you. And it's great to see you again. So listen, also, housekeeping, make sure you hit that link in my description and get your Nama products, y'all. I've had a few people message me about the fact that they have ordered and they have orders on the way. One of my friends got her order and now she's hooked and she's ordered the sleep one, I believe. So listen, make sure you get your $5 off and you click the link in the description. You support the podcast, you support the show, but you also support yourself. Now, I have to say this, you guys. I know that everybody out here is selling something and trying to get you to support the show, but listen, I guarantee, now I can't do nothing for you, but I guarantee that if you get these Nama products, you will be very pleasantly surprised by the feel, by the effect, by just the euphoric vibe. Now, my favorite Nama product is Euphoria. Don't buy it all up so I can't get none. But make sure you order your Nama products. They have so many different things. They have things for sleep, anxiety, for and a euphoric feeling. Make sure you click the link in the description and get your $5 off. All right, let's get into it, guys. So I guess a congratulations is in order for our last year viral sister, Eboni K. Eboni K is expecting her first child at the age of 40. She'll be 41 in September, and she's expecting a girl. And here's the thing. A lot of people have a lot to say about the means and the way that she has conceived her child. So if you don't remember, last year she went viral with an interview with Iyanla Vanzant when she asked if she would date a bus driver.
Date a bus driver. Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Eboni K explained with, vigor that, she's not going to date a bus driver only if he owned the bus. And that comment got a lot of backlash, a lot of conversation. The Kevin Samuel goons came out to get us women, even if we weren't even involved, and it was a lot of conversation. Now, I had an episode discussing this, and whereas I may not have agreed with everything that Eboni K expressed, she is now pregnant. Congratulations are in order for Eboni K, the 40-year-old attorney, television personality, and Real Housewives of New York alum, is expecting her first baby this August. She shares the news along with a set of beautiful baby bump shots with People this week. She did some soul searching during the pandemic and says that she realized that even without a partner, she had the more than enough love and resources to share with the child. So she made the decision to begin the process of IVF with the help of her frozen eggs and a sperm donor. Now, there's been a lot of comments, obviously. We have some people saying that, I love this for her. She's becoming a mother on her own terms and didn't settle for less just to have a family. She gets to become a parent on her own terms and she's drama free. Someone also said she's going to be the best mother. She's lived life and has an amazing story to tell. Then on the other hand, we have some people saying it's beyond saddening at how many women are co-signing this decision. It's literally perpetuating and excusing bad dismissive behavior. When are we going to call each other out about bad actions? Another person put, ladies, don't let an unhealed woman encourage you to be the typical stereotype. Being a single mother by choice isn't an accomplishment. It's difficult, ladies. It's expensive and can be mentally exhausting. Most women don't have the means to do this. A child needs both parents, both income. Another user wrote, Black women who think like Eboni K live in a constant delusional state and they have no real friends. Jesus. They hate Black women like me who tells them the truth and holds them accountable for their BS. It's sad and funny at the same time. She could have been happily married and experiencing the best pregnancy ever with a bus driver who loves her immensely, but she'd rather have a fatherless child by a strange, unknown sperm donor. We also have Naomi Campbell. You know, she just came out this week stating that she has now 2 children that are by sperm donors. She's not married. She's not with a partner, but she now has 2 children. And you know how people on the internet are. We all have our opinions and we all are going to give them to you whether we ask or not. And this has been a topic that I kind of struggled with in terms of like preparing for this video because I am a very traditional person, right? And as I was preparing for the show, my original deep down thought that I wanted to kind of ignore was, this is kind of bad. Like, I don't want women out here thinking that this is the way to go. You know, that this is the alternative to, getting married, or not even getting married, but just having a lifelong partner that you're in a healthy relationship with, that you're starting a family with. Like, I just want that part to be the goal. But then I started doing a little bit more digging. And I saw recently on another show where someone was bringing this very important fact up, right? Women up until the 80s weren't able to even get a loan, to get a bank account, to even have jobs without the approval and the sign off of a man, right? This was not that long ago. And so it had me thinking that this likely is our new normal, right? Women, a lot of people, especially some of the Kevin Samuels, the men who have very strong opinions about women's choices, they always want to say that back in the day, and I've said this as well, you know, back in the day, there were less divorces, there were more homes with a mother and a father, especially in the Black community, and this is what we need, right? But if you think about it, and if you go back to my episode with Miss Joyce, one of the things that she said that I found surprising at the time is that, you know, she admires young women and the choices that they're making now, because back in her days in the 50s and 60s, you know, they didn't have choices. They didn't have options. They didn't have, you know, careers and things like that. They got out of high school. They stayed with their high school person. They got married. They have kids. And then that's their life for the rest of their life. And while I found that to be a very interesting take, I understood it. So it made me think, back then, women stayed with their husbands, I feel like, and I would be willing to bet, because they really had no other options. If you can't work, if you can't earn an income, if you can't even open a bank account without a man, what's your other option? It's really no other alternative. And so it had me thinking that let's just close our eyes and imagine that, you know, women, our mothers, our grandmothers had another option. Let's just say hypothetically they were in a marriage and they were unhappy, or let's just say that they were in high school and they had dreams of being a business mogul, right? Let's say that they had those options. Would we be able to say that back then marriages stayed together? Back then family was number one? I don't think that would be the case, because if you don't have another option, there is no other option. There is no plan B. There's no other option. You get married, you stay with your man, you have kids, and you live a life. And I've heard a lot of stories about women who stayed in abusive relationships. You know, the man was cheating and all these things. And what other option did they have? So that had me thinking, is this our new normal? You know, do women really need men to have children? And I guess here the answer is truly no. Because you have Naomi Campbell, you have Eboni K, and you have other women out here who are saying, you know what? I don't have a man. I'm not married. I'm of a certain age. I want children. And I'm going to do it because I have the means and the resources to do it. Now, it had me also thinking, okay, well, if they have the finances, right, to give a child a wonderful life, then what's the problem? So I went on YouTube and I just started looking up Eboni K. And oh my God, there were so many videos talking a lot negatively about Eboni K and her choices. And I feel like here's the thing with Eboni K. Unfortunately, Eboni K put a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, especially men, with her comments about the bus driver. And she's 100% not wrong for having those thoughts, for having those opinions, for having those standards. Like, she's not wrong. But she's 40, about to be 41. And, you know, her option now is I want kids. I really want children, but I don't have a man. What other options do I have? So on YouTube, there was a lot of people saying, who would want to be a single mother intentionally? Truly bashing her. I mean, it was men and women. I've seen videos with men and women, Black, talking about Eboni K negatively, Naomi Campbell negatively, Vivica Fox negatively, you know? And this is truly none of our business at the end of the day. And, you know, they're going to do what they feel like is best for them. But then the word that I kept hearing, a repetitive word that I kept hearing across all of the content was selfish. Is this a selfish choice for a woman to intentionally bring a child in the home for her own selfish, her own selfish wants and needs? And I can't even say needs because you don't really need a child, I don't think. I mean, I think you want a child. So it really, really had me thinking, is this a selfish act? So then I started doing a little bit more digging, right? And I found an interview with Eboni K, I think from last year, where she was on The View and she was explaining that, she had started her IVF process. She was pulling her eggs and how she had the resources, she had the means, to have her to, give herself the option of being able to have a child without being in a relationship. And one thing that she said on that interview is that, she was looking for her father. So let me kind of back up here. She paid extra money in her sperm donor process to ensure that at the age of 18, once she has her child, her sperm donor can be made available to the child for the child to, I guess, develop a potential relationship with them and to basically find out who they are. And the audience clapped and it was great. And I think one of the ladies on The View basically said, so you kind of did the same thing. Like Eboni K recently, looked for her father via a website, found her father, and, that's why she paid this extra money to have this option or to ensure that the child could then find out at 18 who their father was. And then that had me thinking, Eboni K and Naomi Campbell were both raised by single mothers with no father in the home. And one of the distinctive things about the whole bus driver conversation that I remember is that Eboni K said, and this stuck out to me, being a daddy's girl, being, having 3 older brothers, having just strong male influence in my life through my entire life, this stuck out to me that she said that she has never once in her life seen an example or experienced an example of a healthy man in her life. And that will forever stick with me because I'm like, damn, I could not imagine a life without my dad. I could not imagine a life without the positive influence of my brothers and my uncles in my life. And it's unfortunate that a lot of women out here, a lot of women experience life without their fathers. And you can kind of see the impact of their lives without a father figure in the home or even a relationship with their father. And I heard one of the other YouTubers saying that, could this be why Eboni K is in the situation that she's in without a man and having a lot of issues, finding a man or having an experience, a positive experience with a man at age almost 41? Could the fact that she had no male in the home, she's had no positive experience with males, could that be why she's having trouble having a partner, having a successful relationship? And that leads to the biggest question: why would she want that for her child? And then it makes me come back to the word selfish. Now, I'm not saying she's selfish. It's difficult for me to have an opinion about this because, I have daughters and I've never had an issue, conceiving, and I don't know what it's like to be a woman of a certain age, like 40 plus, and to yearn and yearn and yearn for a child and to feel like you don't have an option and your only option is a sperm donor or a surrogate. And I feel like that has to be a very, very sensitive, very just hard place to be in. But I keep hearing that word in the back of my mind: selfish, 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 right? Because if you had so many issues not having a father in your home, and then that dominoed effect into your adult life, and dominoed effect into, your midlife, it's just interesting that people are using the word selfish to describe her want and her desire for a child. And now her baby is now due in August without a father. And even on that same interview, because it had me thinking, well, if you couldn't find a man without a child, it kind of makes it a little bit difficult for you to find a man now with a baby. And not just a baby, because women do it all the time, but you are now the woman who couldn't make it work with any man in all of these years. Right. And now you have a baby, but there is no child. There is no father. There is no active father in this child's life. So I have to just to keep it a buck, it has to be even that much more difficult to date with a child and no other side of the family. No father, nobody to drop that kid off with. And I'm certain that Eboni K has to have, family. I'm assuming. I think her mother is still here, I believe. But that just makes it all the more harder for the child and for you even to date, I would assume. And that word selfish keeps coming up. Now, again, who are we to judge at the end of the day? Because here's the other side to that. I heard a lot of people say, and even in that comment, they were like, oh, well, she could have been with a bus driver by now, having a great relationship and having an amazing pregnancy. But here's the thing. Just because you are married or dating or engaged or whatever to somebody and you happen to be pregnant does not mean that you're going to stay with that man. I mean, you can look at our statistics now. Like, most our divorce rates are high. And there are a lot of single parent households. So at the end of the day, what's the difference? I mean, because think about it. You have a child with someone, right? Because that's the road that everybody wants to see. They're saying that she is selecting and choosing to be a single mom on purpose. But at the end of the day, what's the difference if she starts out with a man, it doesn't work, or, he's abusive, or, whatever the case might be, and then she's a single mother anyway? Again, I'm not saying that that would be her only choice and that would even have to happen. But if you look at the numbers, if you look at the stats, it's not that improbable for her to end up being a single mother anyway. And to me, that's the bigger damn conversation. Like, when I look at these YouTube videos and I see, these women and these men talking negatively about her and, oh my God, she's a single mom. And oh my God, who wants to be a single mom on purpose? Like, this is a bigger conversation. It's not about these single moms or, it's about the family. It is about the Black family. What is the disconnect? And I feel like in this situation, I feel like the disconnect appears to be finances. One of the things that Eboni K has consistently said is that the dating pool is trash. You know, these men don't have money. These men are dusty. They're bums. They're this and they're that. So to me, that's kind of the conversation as well. You know, why do women, black women, feel like black men are not up to par? You know, when I was looking at it, it seems like black men are still out earning black women, but I feel like that pool of eligible six-figure earners in the black man category seems to be slim. Now, I don't know, because for me, and here's where it gets sticky. I don't feel that that's true. I just don't feel that that is a true statement, and my answer to that is that you can have 1 million single eligible black men, and you can have, 100 eligible single black women, but it truly comes down to compatibility. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to compatibility. So I don't feel like, oh my God, there's so many men and there's so little women, but there's not so many compatible people that can actually have a successful long-term relationship. And I just have to go back to when I was dating, there was a lot of eligible six-figure earner black men out there. Now, maybe it's where you live, maybe it's how you attract men, maybe it's your personality. It could be a plethora of things. But I feel like the bigger conversation needs to be, how do we bridge the gap with the black people? I'm so tired of these conversations. I literally just posted a video earlier this week, with this. To me, she's a dusty. Like, to me, she is a dusty. She's a dusty. She's a dusty. I'm just going to say it. She's a dusty. Like, she's calling these black men dusty. And to me, she was the ultimate dusty. And here you have, black men against black women, black men against black women, black men against black women. And it's just so tiring. And it's so prevalent in our community. This is just really a hard one for me because I don't know what's right and I don't know what's wrong. I saw somebody say that it's selfish because these women, they get to 40 years old and they wanted to pick and choose, and now they're alone and now they're having these babies. Like, these babies are like an accessory. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to grow along with the cat, so let me just get a sperm donor and bring this baby into the world and set them up for failure because now they're going to be brought up in a home without a father. But you have to understand, a lot of these fucking kids are being brought up without fathers anyway in the home. So what is the difference? Like, what is the difference? That should not be the conversation. Here's the biggest damn thing that I feel like nobody be talking about. Most single mothers don't want to be single mothers. And it's not like, oh my God, single mother. It takes two people to have a child. It takes two people to have a child, too. So even if the mother is a single mother, she didn't just go out here and, have a kid like Mary Magdalene. Is that her name? Mary Magdalene. So why are we not putting the onus on the absent fathers? Like, why aren't there not more conversations about these absent fathers? People like to bring up the Bible, right? Women don't want to be submissive, women this, women that, the third. But at the end of the day, the man is supposed to be the head. He's supposed to be the provider. So if you see a woman who's a single mother, that should make you angry, not so much at the woman, but at the man. Where is that man? And if the man is missing, it should, to me, because I ain't a man, but to me, if you're so biblical and it's so, all these women, what about the men? What about the men? Like, where is that conversation? Where are all those viral videos? And to the men who are the six-figure earners and the men who have the status and have all these things, help the other men. Because the goal at the end of the day is family. The goal at the end of the day is generational wealth. The goal at the end of the day is to build healthy family units. That's the goal. All right. So selfish. They don't want to have a kid. Blah, blah, blah. Look, I got all my points here. Now, here are just some interesting facts that I did find that I wanted to share, right? So here are just quick couple of facts about the importance of having a father in the home, because there's pros and there's cons to both. I feel like there's more pros to having the father in the home than not. I understand as a woman, for the most part, yearning to have a child. You're getting older, your eggs are drying up. What do? Do you give up having a child of your own because there's no man to have the child with? Or do you work because you work so hard, you got the money, you got the resources, you have the nanny? Do you get what you want and provide this child with an amazing life? Like, I don't know. The word selfish just keeps popping up. Is it selfish? Is it selfish? Because a child did not ask to be here. And if you yourself struggled, not knowing your father, if you yourself have issues at 40 plus, not knowing your father, if in Naomi Campbell's, situation, she said in one of her interviews, she's doing it by herself because she saw her mama do it by herself, but that don't make it right. That don't make it right. But what's the other alternative? If there's no option for a man, what's the other alternative? I don't know. It's very, very, very sticky. But here are some 10 facts about, the importance of having a father in the home. So fathers and infants can equally be as attached as mothers and infants. When both parents are involved with the child, infants are attached to both parents from the beginning of life. Father involvement is related to positive child health outcomes in infants, such as improved weight gain in preterm infants and improved breastfeeding rates. Children who feel a closeness to their father are twice as likely as those who do not to enter college or find stable employment after high school. 75% less likely to have a teen birth, 80% less likely to spend time in jail, and half as likely to experience multiple depression symptoms. Fathers occupy a critical role in child development. Father absent hinders development from early infancy through childhood and into adulthood. The quality of the father-child relationship matters more than the specific amount of hours spent together. Non-resident fathers can have a positive effect on children's social and emotional well-being, as well as academic achievements and behavioral adjustments. High levels of father involvement are correlated with higher levels of social ability, confidence, self-control in children. Children with involved fathers are less likely to act out in school or engage in risky behaviors in adolescence. Children with active fathers are 43% more likely to earn A's in school and 33% less likely to repeat a grade than those without engaged dads. Here's some other interesting information as well. Narratively speaking, many individuals can attest to the fact that the lasting impact of a father in a child's life cannot be denied. Many would admit that they have struggled with feelings of abandonment, low self-esteem due to lack of father's love in their lives. Some have turned to drugs, alcohol, risky sexual activities, unhealthy relationships, or other destructive behaviors to numb the pain of being fatherless. Although the absence of their father is not an isolated risk factor, it definitely can take a toll on the development of children. This is important to take note, as many would argue that the parental role is more significant than the other. It's a lot. It's a lot of facts that speak to the importance of having a relationship. And one of the main things that I see here is promiscuity and teen pregnancies. Fatherless children are more likely to experience problems with sexual health, including a greater likelihood of having intercourse before the age of 16, foregoing contraception during the first intercourse, becoming teenage parents, and contracting sexually transmitted infections. Girl manifests an object hunger for males and experiencing the emotional loss of their father's love as a rejection of them. and they become susceptible to exploitation by adult men. And you got to listen, we have to be honest with ourselves here. You know, I know a lot of people are going to say, you know, as long as they can afford these children, as long as they can give them a, you know, a home, they can afford nannies, they can this, that, and the third. But there are grave negative impacts of not having a father around or engaging with the children. These are not small things. If we think back to when we were in school and think back to, I guess for me, because I've always had my dad around, you know what I'm saying? You think back to some of the girls that you know that were very promiscuous and did not have fathers in the home, you know? And I'm not saying that that's something that's going to happen, of course, but we all know those girls who have no fathers in the home, and now they out here bumping and grinding at an early age because they're searching for a void that they have with not having male energy in the home. And then the other thing we don't talk about is the amount of molestation that happens because sometimes these mothers bring men in the home who have no relation to that child. And it makes those women and those girls and little boys susceptible to, you know, strangers around them who don't mean them any good. So there's just a lot of things that you have to take into account. But this might be an ongoing conversation because I do feel stuck. Because I don't know if it's up to us to, you know, take that right away from women who just don't have a man but want a child. Listen, y'all, let me know in the comments your thoughts about Eboni K and about Naomi having these children without a man's involvement via sperm donor, via IVF, with no men. I really hate this whole conversation too about Vivica Fox. Like, y'all people are super duper harsh. Like, these before and after pictures that people are posting everywhere about Vivica Fox and, oh, now she want a man, now she want to get married, now she want a man. Like, it's just so toxic. It's just, y'all are toxic. Y'all are toxic. I don't know, child. But anyway, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, share, comment below. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next episode.